What is going on, Bucs fans and CFP fans? Evan Wanish here, co-host of the Cannon Fire podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the Buccaneers free agency priorities for the 2024 offseason. I know that the Bucs are still pushing for the playoffs. I know there's still some season left, but it's always fun to take a look at the free agency class ahead. And we also talked about this a little bit on our Tuesday show. So go ahead and check out the Tuesday podcast over on the Cannon Fire podcast channel. And also, you can listen anywhere you listen to your podcast as well. So, without further ado, I want to get into my top 5 free agent priorities for the Buccaneers, but I do want to go over a list of their free agents. Now, they do, according to Over the Cap, they're projected a little over $60 million in cap space, which is a lot. However, and that's before any restructures, cuts, anything like that. However, as you'll see, this list is pretty long. So the Buccaneers will have some hard decisions to make as they try and navigate their cap space here. So without further ado, let's get right into the list. We have Mike Evans, Devon White, Lavonte David, Baker Mayfield, Greg Gaines, William Golston, Matt Filer, Antoine Winfield Jr., Aaron Stinney, Ryan Neal, Chase Edmonds, Keyshawn Vaughn, Zach Triner, Chase McLaughlin, and the restricted free agents, Cam Gill, Justin Skoll, D. Delaney, Nick Leverett. So then you got some earned rights free agents in there, but those are the unrestricted free agents. Of course, the names are going to pop out of you. Mike Evans, Lavonte David, Devon White, Antoine Winfield Jr., Baker Mayfield. Probably, I would say, the biggest names that are going to pop out at you for sure. We'll see if some of those guys are back. Lavonte David, is he going to continue to keep playing? I don't know. I don't know if he hangs it up, if he calls it a career, or if he wants to stay in Tampa or go to contender. Devon White, are the Buccaneers going to be able to find a number? Devon White, I don't think it's going to be at that number that he wanted. Mike Evans for the same thing. So we'll have to wait and see Baker Mayfield. I mean, do they decide to keep Baker Mayfield? That's huge. So without further ado, though, let's get right into the top 5 priorities. I'm going to go 5-1, and I am going to go 5th. And it's tough because there is sort of an asterisk next to this, I guess you could say. I'm going to go with Baker Mayfield. And the reason there's an asterisk here is because I don't know, that's if all goes well, right? That's if all goes well with Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. He closed out the season strong. Has had a good, solid season. There's been some mistakes for sure, but I do think that if the price is right, if the Buccaneers can make the playoffs here and make some noise there, maybe I think the Buccaneers could look to bring Baker Mayfield back. And I think if they make the playoffs, or even if they're win 8 games, barely miss the playoffs, but Mayfield really plays well, I think he could deserve to come back. So he'd be a pretty top priority for me if you're able to finish strong down the stretch. But again, there's an asterisk there just because I think it depends on the coaching staff. Is the coaching staff back? The coaching staff isn't back, then I think Mayfield's less likely to be back, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But with my number 4 priority, and this one actually might be maybe a little controversial to put him over Baker Mayfield, but I'm going to go Chase McLaughlin. How about that? I mean, Chase McLaughlin has been really, really good for the Buccaneers. One of the best signing that Jason Light made this past offseason. So I think Chase McLaughlin's just been money for the Bucs, and I think he deserves another contract. So kicker has been Ryan Suckup stabilized it, right? He stabilized the position that was a nightmare for the Buccaneers for so many years. Chase McLaughlin's doing a great job. I don't think you can let him leave. So Chase McLaughlin is number 4 on my list. Number 3 is Lavonte David. Now, like I said, Lavonte David may retire. He may look to go to a contender. He's nearing the end of his career. Look, folks, I don't think the Buccaneers are going to be contending for a Super Bowl next season. So if Lavonte David tests the market and finds a team that is willing to pay him what he wants and also is a contender, I think you could see him leave. At the same time, though, I think the Buccaneers are going to try, if Lavonte David continues to play, I think the Buccaneers are going to try everything in their power to try and keep him in Tampa Bay and keep him a Tampa Bay Buccaneer for life. I think that's really important to him. I think it's important to the Bucs, but at the same time, the money's got to work. I actually think Lavonte David may actually get a little bit of a raise this offseason compared to last offseason. So I could definitely see that because he's been better this year than he was last year. So I could see another 1-year deal, but Lavonte David would be a pretty top priority for me. Number two on this list is going to be Mike Evans. Now, I know there's going to be a lot of Bucs fans that have him at 1, and I get it. I completely understand where Bucs fans are coming from. He's probably the best offensive player in franchise history. I mean, okay, Tom Brady, but Tom Brady wasn't playing with the Bucs his whole career. Mike Evans, his body of work, that puts him as the best offensive player in Buccaneers history. He owns so many Buccaneers records, and it would be such a shame. I mean, you won a Super Bowl with him. He went through the bad years, was great during the good years, and it'd be such a shame if Mike Evans were to walk away now from the Buccaneers. Of course, they wanted to get a contract extension done before the season, could not. There was a lot of trade rumors. Was Mike Evans going to get traded? No, he was never going to get traded. The Buccaneers were always going to hold on to him, and they're still hoping to sign him to that extension. So I think Mike Evans, again, it's sort of like Lavonte David. Mike Evans definitely wants to keep playing, but is there a contender out there that's going to offer Evans what he wants, which is probably top wide receiver money? Because I think if Evans was asking for in the low 20s on an AAV, I think the deal would have already been done. So clearly his asking price is pretty high right now. I think that Mike Evans could go out there and see if a contender will give him that on a multi-year deal. If not, he could return to Tampa. I could definitely see a return to Tampa in order for the Buccaneers and Mike Evans. Spot Rack has his market value at $23.2 million. I think that's pretty fair, to be honest with you. I do think that's fair. We'll see if Mike Evans gets that. I think it's sort of right on the money. I think Mike Evans is probably asking for a little bit more than that, but Mike Evans obviously has to be a priority for the Buccaneers. He's just the type of player where you got to keep him in a Bucs uniform his entire career, and hopefully they will do that. But without further ado, let's move on to my number one free agent priority. And this was a player who, honestly, maybe if you asked me before the season, it might have been Mike Evans, but with his play this season, he jumps to number one, and that's Antoine Winfield Jr., the fantastic safety. Just an absolute stud. One of the best safeties in the NFL. I know me and Rhett on CFP always have a fun topic of whether or not he's the best safety in the NFL. But he is definitely one of the best, and only 25 years old. This dude, you can't let this dude walk. Even if you don't get a contract done with this guy, he needs to be franchise tagged. It absolutely needs to be your top priority to get him signed, locked up, and good to go for next season, because there's just no way you can let Antoine Winfield Jr. walk out that door. Spot Rack has his market value at $16.3 million. I mean, yeah, like it's a lot, but I think he's with how he's playing this year, like that's worth. He's worth it. Like he can do so many things for the Buccaneers, and I just think he's an invaluable, like such a valuable piece for the defense. That I don't think the Buccaneers can let him walk. I just don't think that's something that would be advantageous for them or him. Honestly, I think he's found a perfect fit in Tampa. Now, if Todd Bowles isn't back in 2024, does Winfield's role change a little bit? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. When you have a player the caliber of Winfield, I don't care. Like, fit him into your scheme. You work your scheme around that type of player. So Winfield absolutely has to be the Buccaneers' top priority, I think, this coming season. Now, let me address the elephant in the room, because I know there's going to be a ton of comments about this. Where's Devon White? And I'm not going to talk about this a ton, but where's Devon White? Quite frankly, Devon White does not make my priorities list. I am fully prepared, if I'm the Buccaneers, to let Devon White walk away in free agency. If you want to go out and chase a bigger contract, go ahead. Spot Rack has his market value at $20.1 million. I bet you if they update this in a few months, that's going to go down, because he is absolutely not playing like a $20 million a year linebacker, especially an inside linebacker. Those guys got to be special to get that type of money. Devon White had 3 tackles on Sunday in the loss against San Francisco. Just not good enough. And he's not playing like a guy worth $100 million, which was what reportedly what he was asking for before the season. And his trade request didn't help. I think the Devon White experiment, I guess you could say, or Devon White era in Tampa Bay is coming to an end. I don't think the Buccaneers are going to re-sign him, and I personally wouldn't have him as a priority. I mean, I have the kicker as a higher priority than Devon White. So I'm fully prepared to move on from Devon White, especially at that price. And I think the Buccaneers are as well. But let me know what you guys think about this free agency priorities list. Let me know if you agree, disagree. It's okay if you do either way. That's cool. I'd love to hear your list, though. I'd love to hear your top five. Sort of give me a little bit of a quick explanation as to why you think that, too. I would love to hear that. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Can of Fire Podcast. Please check out the latest episode that we did on Tuesday. Also, check out our preview show, which is coming up on Friday. Happy Thanksgiving to all. Hope you all have a great holiday with your friends and family. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.